Hello and welcome to your sleep story. It is a pleasure to have you here in this quiet, shared space. My name is Adam, and tonight I am going to be your guide as we leave the busy world behind and step into a morning of absolute majesty on the open sea. Before we begin our journey, I'd like to invite you to become a part of our community. If you find peace in these stories, please consider subscribing to the channel. It ensures that whenever you need a place to rest, we are here waiting for you. And tonight I have a special question for you to answer in the comments. If you could wake up tomorrow in any landscape, real or imagined, where would it be? Describe one small detail of that place for me, and while you're there, let us know what time it is where you are in the world. It is a beautiful thing to see our global community settling down to rest at all hours of the day and night. Now make yourself as comfortable as you can possibly be. Adjust your pillows. Pull the blankets up to your chin. Ensure you are in a place where you can truly let go. Let's begin by grounding ourselves. Feel the weight of your body against the bed. Notice the points of contact, your heels, the back of your legs, your hips, and your shoulders. Imagine that the bed is perfectly designed to hold you. You don't need to hold yourself up anymore. You can simply sink. I'm going to count down from 10 to 1. With every number, allow a wave of relaxation to travel through you. 10. Soften your jaw. Let your tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. And 9. Feel your shoulders drop. They are heavy, like warm stones sinking into soft sand. 8. Let the muscles in your arms go limp. Your hands are still, quiet, and warm. 7. Take a deep, slow breath into your belly. Feel it rise, and as you exhale, feel your chest relax. 6. The relaxation moves down your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, like a gentle stream. 5. Your hips and thighs become heavy. All tension is draining away. 4. Down through your knees and your calves. Your legs feel long and rested. 3. Your feet and your toes. Every nerve is settling. 2. Your whole body is now a landscape of peace. You are safe. You are grounded. 1. You are ready to step into the story. If thoughts arrive, let them be like small white clouds in a vast blue sky. Don't try to stop them. Just watch them drift by. And return your focus to the sound of my voice. The journey begins in the small, ancient harbour of a village that seems to have been carved out of the very cliffs themselves. It is the blue hour, that sacred velvet interval when the moon has dipped below the horizon, but the sun has yet to announce itself. The world is bathed in a soft, monochromatic indigo. You are standing at the top of a winding cobblestone path that leads down to the water. The stones are old, worn smooth and rounded by centuries of footfalls, by the weight of carts, and by the relentless washing of the salt spray. As you walk down, notice the sound of your footsteps. They aren't sharp. They are muffled by the dampness of the morning air. The air is cool, not a biting cold, but a crisp, refreshing temperature that feels like a clean linen sheet against your skin. It carries the scent of the world waking up, the faint, earthy aroma of wood smoke from the bakery's early ovens, the sharp tang of drying seaweed, and the deep, mineral smell of wet stone. To your left, the village huddles together. The cottages are made of grey stone and whitewashed timber, their windows dark and reflecting the purple sky. like quiet eyes. Everything is silent. Even the birds have not yet begun their morning chorus. The only sound is the rhythmic, hypnotic lap-tap of the water against the harbour walls. It is a slow, steady pulse, the heartbeat of the earth. Would you reach the pier? The wood beneath your boots is heavy timber, darkened by decades of saturation and stained with the silver grey of salt. You walk past the other boats, their masts swaying slightly in the dark, creaking like old men talking in their sleep. Creak, groan, tap. The rigging clinks softly against the wood, a metallic lullaby that tells you the sea is calm. And then you see her, the Marisol. She is a sturdy vessel, built with a broad beam and a deep hull, designed to sit comfortably in the swell. She is painted a deep, lustrous navy blue, but in this light she looks like a shadow floating on a mirror. You step onto the deck. Feel the subtle shift in gravity as the boat accepts your weight. It is a welcoming movement, a gentle dip that tells you the Marisol is ready for the day. And the deck is made of thick cedar planks. Even in the dim light, you can see the grain of the wood swirling like the thumbprints of giants. You kneel down for a moment to check the equipment. The wood feels cool and slightly tacky with the morning dew. You run your hand over a brass cleat. It is cold to the touch, solid and unyielding. This boat is a fortress of peace. You begin the ritual of departure. There is no rush. Every movement is intentional, every action a meditation. You reach for the mooring lines. The hemp rope is thick and heavy, the fibers slightly rough against your palms. It smells of salt and old sun. You feel the moisture of the dew as you begin to untie the knots. These knots are familiar. Your hands move over them with a muscle memory that requires no thought. As you loosen the rope, you feel the tension of the boat's desire to drift. It is a soft pull, a gentle yearning for the open water. You coil the rope with a slow, circular motion, laying it neatly on the deck. The sound of the rope hitting the wood is a soft thud, a grounding sound in the quiet harbour. You push off from the stone wall. The Marisol glides away with a ghostly silence. There is no engine yet, just the silent, graceful momentum of the tide. You watch the stone walls slowly recede into the mist. The village is becoming a dream behind you. The harbour mouth is ahead, two great arms of stone reaching out into the darkness, protecting this little world from the vastness of the deep. As you pass between the stone breakwaters, you feel the first real movement of the ocean. It isn't a jolt, it is an expansion. The boat rises and falls on a long, slow swell, a sigh from the lungs of the world. You look out toward the east. The indigo is beginning to fray at the edges, being replaced by a thin, glowing line of silver. This is the beginning of the silver tide. You are alone on the water, but you are not lonely. You are part of the dawn. You are the navigator of your own peace. The Marisol has now cleared the stone arms of the harbour, and the world has expanded into a vast, open cathedral of indigo and silver. Behind you, the village is nothing more than a cluster of shadows, a memory of stone and earth that is slowly being swallowed by the morning mist. Ahead, there is only the horizon, a thin, glowing line that separates the deep velvet of the sea from the fading violet of the sky. You reach for the ignition switch, a small, cold toggle of steel on the brass-fitted console. You flip it, and the engine rumbles to life, not with a roar, but with a deep, subterranean hum that vibrates through the soles of your boots and up into your very bones. It is a comforting sound, the heartbeat of the vessel, a low-frequency pulse that seems to sync perfectly with your own breathing. Vroom, vroom, vroom. You feel the power of the boat as she begins to cut through the water with more purpose. The bow lifts slightly, meeting the first real swells of the open ocean. Observe the water as it meets the hull. In this pre-dawn light, the ocean is not blue. It is the color of liquid mercury, heavy and shimmering. As the Marisol slices through the surface, she peels back the water in two perfect curling ribbons. These waves are translucent, catching the faint, burgeoning light of the east and turning it into a pale, ghostly white. You watch the foam as it tumbles away from the boat, millions of tiny, crystalline bubbles that hiss softly as they dissolve back into the deep. The sound is like the falling of a very fine, distant rain. Now look up at the sky. This is the hour of the great unfolding. The indigo at the zenith is beginning to fray, giving way to a layer of deep, royal purple. Lower down, near the water's edge, a sliver of amethyst appears, followed by a soft, dusty peach that looks like the inside of a seashell. The clouds, thin, wispy veils of vapor, are being painted with the first brushstrokes of the sun. They aren't solid, they are like streaks of pink gossamer, stretched thin by the high-altitude winds. You watch as a single star, the morning star, hangs stubbornly in the violet expanse, its light pulsing with a slow, steady rhythm before it is eventually drowned out by the coming gold. But you reach for a thermos tucked into a leather-bound holder near the helm. The metal is warm, a contrast to the cool, salt air that brushes against your face. You unscrew the cap, and the scent of dark, roasted coffee and a hint of cinnamon rises into the air, mingling with the sharp, mineral tang of the sea. You take a sip, and the warmth travels down your throat and settles in your chest, a glowing coal of comfort in the center of your being. You feel a profound sense of solitude, but it is a rich, nourishing solitude. Out here, there are no expectations. There are no schedules. There is only the movement of the boat, the change of the light, and the immense, breathing presence of the water. You adjust the wooden wheel, feeling the grain of the teak against your palms. It is responsive, a living thing that communicates the mood of the sea directly into your hands. You feel every swell, every subtle shift in the current. The Marisol is not fighting the ocean, she is dancing with it. You lean your weight into the turn, guiding the bow toward a specific coordinate on the horizon, a place where the underwater currents meet, creating a garden of life far beneath the surface. Notice the air now. As the sun draws closer to the horizon, the temperature begins to shift. The cool, damp chill of the night is being replaced by a subtle, creeping warmth. You can feel it on your forehead and on the backs of your hands. The wind, which was a steady pressure against your chest, has softened into a gentle caress. It carries the scent of the deep, not just salt, but the smell of cold stone, of distant rain, and of the vast, unseen forests of kelp that sway in the darkness, hundreds of feet below. The mist is beginning to lift, rising off the surface of the water in long, ghostly tendrils that curl and spiral in the air. For a moment, the Marisol is surrounded by a forest of white vapor, a world within a world where the horizon disappears and you are suspended in a void of soft, glowing light. You move through it slowly, the engine's hum muffled and distant, until suddenly you break through the other side. And there it is. The sun breaks the surface. It is not a sudden flash, but a slow, majestic emergence. A sliver of burning gold appears on the edge of the world, and instantly a path of fire is laid across the water, stretching from the horizon all the way to the side of your boat. The liquid mercury of the sea is transformed into a field of molten gold. Every ripple, every wave, every tiny disturbance on the surface is now a spark, a diamond, a flickering flame. You are sailing down a road of light, heading deeper into the heart of the morning. You feel your heart expand with the sheer, overwhelming majesty of it. The day hasn't just begun. It has been born. You are the only witness to this specific miracle, and in this moment, you are exactly where you belong. The sun has now cleared the horizon, but it remains hooded behind a veil of low-lying sea mist, creating a world of diffused, pearlescent light. The Marisol has reached the inner deep, a place where the shelf drops away and the water changes from a friendly turquoise to a profound royal indigo. Out here, the surface of the ocean is so still, it feels less like water and more like a sheet of stretched silk. You throttle back the engine. The deep thrum of the machine slows, softening from a heartbeat into a whisper, until finally you turn the key. The silence that rushes in to fill the void is absolute. It is a heavy physical silence that seems to press gently against your ears. You can hear the blood pumping softly in your temples. You can hear the wood of the boat expanding under the warmth of the hidden sun. Creak, tick. The Marisol is settling into the water, finding her balance in the stillness. Lean over the side of the boat and look down into the depths. Because the sun is still softened by the mist, your eyes can pierce the surface more deeply than usual. The water is impossibly clear. It is as if you are looking through 100 feet of liquid crystal. And there, deep below the hull, the garden begins to reveal itself. As the boat drifts, its shadow passes over the quiet inhabitants of the deep. You notice a flicker of movement, a pulse of light that wasn't there a moment ago. It starts as a tiny neon spark, no larger than a grain of sand, then another and another. You are drifting over a field of bioluminescent plankton, a galaxy of living stars suspended in the blue. Now, with every gentle movement of the Marisol, the water erupts in soft, glowing clouds of emerald and electric blue. It is as if the boat is a paintbrush and the ocean is a dark canvas. The wake of the rudder leaves a swirling trail of light that lingers in the water for long seconds before fading back into the dark. Reach your hand out. Let your fingers trail through the surface. As you move your hand, a sleeve of cold blue fire wraps around your arm. The light doesn't burn, it is a soft, ghostly luminescence that illuminates the fine hairs on your skin and the ancient grain of the wooden hull. Observe the shapes moving within this light. You see a cluster of moon jellies drifting by just inches beneath the surface. They are translucent bells pulsing with a slow, hypnotic rhythm. Open, close, open, close. They carry their own internal lanterns glowing with a faint lavender hue. They aren't swimming. They are being carried by the same silent currents that guide your boat. They are the ultimate expression of letting go. They do not fight the tide, they become the tide. The mist above you begins to swirl, caught in a stray current of air. It creates pillars of white vapor that dance across the water like ghosts. One of these pillars passes directly over the deck, wrapping you in a cool, damp embrace. It smells of the very beginning of time, of salt and oxygen and infinite space. For a moment, the world of the village, the world of roads and clocks and responsibilities, feels like a dream you had a long time ago. The only reality is the glow of the water and the slow, heavy rocking of the Marisol. You move to the center of the deck and sit down on a bench made of weathered teak. The wood is warm from the sun, a comforting solidness in this world of fluid light. You close your eyes for a moment, and even then you can see the pulses of the bioluminescence behind your eyelids. Your body feels lighter, as if the salt air has infused your very bones, making you as buoyant as the boat itself. You are drifting. You are part of the garden. You are a single point of consciousness in a vast, glowing universe. A large shadow moves slowly beneath the boat, a manta ray, wide and flat like a living carpet. Its wings move in slow, majestic undulations, stirring up a massive cloud of blue light as it passes. It looks like an underwater aurora borealis, a curtain of light shimmering in the dark. It is so close you can see the pale underside of its body glowing in the reflection of the plankton. It is a silent giant, a guardian of the deep, moving with a grace that defies its size. You feel a sense of profound safety in its presence. Out here, in the heart of the garden, everything is in its right place. Everything is exactly as it should be. The light from the water is so bright now that it reflects off the underside of the mist, creating a soft, blue glow that fills the entire world. There is no longer a top or a bottom. There is only the blue, the light, and the silence. You breathe in the glow. You breathe out the stillness. Your heart rate has slowed to a deep, steady rhythm that matches the pulsing of the jellies. You are ready to move even deeper into the morning, further away from the shore and closer to the heart of the great silver tide. The Marisol has found her place. The bioluminescent glow of the early morning has settled into the depths, and the sun has finally burned away the last of the harbour mist. The world is now a brilliant, high-definition landscape of sapphire blue and blinding white gold. You are miles from the nearest shore, anchored in a patch of ocean where the currents converge, creating a deep, silent pool of perfect stillness. You move to the stern of the boat, your movements slow and deliberate, as if you were moving through water yourself. Every sound is amplified in the quiet. The soft creak of your leather boots, the clink of the brass hardware, the distant, lonely cry of a wandering albatross circling high above in the infinite blue. You reach for your fishing rod, a beautiful, handcrafted piece of split cane bamboo. The wood is honey-colored, glowing in the sunlight, and the silk wrappings are a deep forest green. Feel the weight of the rod in your hand. It is perfectly balanced, an extension of your own arm. You run your thumb over the reel, a vintage brass mechanism that feels cool and solid. You can feel the intricate gears inside, waiting to turn. You check the line, a thin, translucent filament that seems to disappear against the sky. It is a golden thread, a literal connection between the world above and the mysteries below. You begin the ritual of the cast. You pull back the rod, feeling the tension in the bamboo as it bends. Then, with a smooth, effortless motion, you flick your wrist. The line flies through the air with a soft, melodic whir. a silver arc that catches the light like a falling star. The lure hits the water with a delicate plink, and for a moment the sound echoes across the flat surface of the sea like a pebble dropped into a well. Now, the true meditation begins. You sit on the low wooden bench at the stern, the sun warming the back of your neck and shoulders. You aren't here to conquer the sea, you are here to listen to it. You watch your float, a small hand-carved piece of cork painted in bright crimson and white. It sits on the water perfectly still, a single point of focus in a vast moving universe. Observe the surface of the water around your float. It isn't just one color, it is a shifting mosaic of 1,000 different blues. Near the boat, it is a pale, translucent turquoise. Further out, it deepens into a rich ultramarine, and further still it becomes a dark, majestic indigo that seems to hold the weight of the entire world. You watch the tiny ripples as they dance around the cork. They are like small, liquid diamonds catching the sun and throwing splinters of light across the hull of the Marisol. As you sit, you become aware of the life moving beneath you. You don't see it with your eyes, but you feel it through the line. The ocean is not empty. It is a crowded, vibrant forest of movement. You feel the subtle vibrations of the current as it pulls against the silk thread. You feel the distant pulse of the tide as it moves against the continental shelf miles below. Your heartbeat begins to slow, synchronizing with the rhythmic slap of the water against the wood. Lap, tap, lap, tap. You are no longer a visitor here. You are part of the environment. A large sea turtle surfaces 30 yards from the boat. It moves with a slow, prehistoric dignity, its shell reflecting the amber light like an ancient, weathered shield. It takes a long, deep breath, a sound of pure, unhurried life, and then, with a soft swirl of its flippers, it dives back into the silence. You watch the bubbles rise to the surface, tiny silver orbs that pop and disappear, leaving the water as smooth as glass once again. Suddenly the line twitches. It isn't a strike, it's a curiosity. You feel a gentle, inquisitive tug through the bamboo handle. It's as if something in the deep is testing the connection, reaching out to touch the world above. You don't move. You don't breathe. You simply stay present in the sensation. The tug comes again, stronger this time, a heavy rhythmic pull that speaks of great power and ancient grace. All you begin to reel in, not with a sense of urgency, but with a sense of ceremony. The brass reel sings a low, rhythmic click, click, click that fills the air. As the line comes up, a flash of color appears beneath the surface. It is the Silver King, a fish of legend, its body covered in scales that look like hammered platinum and iridescent pearl. It rises slowly, not fighting the line but following it, as if it is as curious about you as you are about it. As the fish nears the surface, the light refracts through the water, turning the Silver King into a kaleidoscope of emerald, violet and gold. It is a creature of pure light. You bring it alongside the Marisol, and for a brief, eternal moment, you look into its eye, a large, dark orb that seems to contain the wisdom of the trenches. There is no fear in that eye, there is only recognition. You reach down, your fingers brushing the cool, slick surface of its side. It feels like wet silk, like liquid stone. With a gentle, practiced hand, you release the hook. You watch as the Silver King lingers for a heartbeat, its fins fanning out like delicate wings, and then, with a single, powerful flick of its tail, it vanishes back into the blue. It leaves behind a trail of silver bubbles and a profound sense of peace. You reel in your empty line, feeling the weight of the morning's gift. You have not taken anything from the sea, but you have been given everything. The sun is now at its zenith, and the air is thick with the scent of salt and sun-warmed wood. You lean back against the cabin, closing your eyes, letting the golden light soak into your skin. The Marisol continues to rock, a gentle, hypnotic cradle that carries you further and further away from the shore of the waking world. You are drifting in the center of the golden thread. You are safe. You are whole. You are home. The afternoon has deepened into a heavy, liquid gold. The sun, while still bright, has begun its slow, inevitable descent, and the air has taken on a different quality, a thickness, as if the atmosphere itself is becoming saturated with the scent of the coming evening. The Marisol sits in the center of a world that has turned into a vast, shimmering mirror. The line between the sky and the sea has begun to blur again, not with the mist of the morning, but with a warm, amber haze that softens the horizon into a dream. You are resting on the deck, your back against the smooth, sun-warmed cedar of the main cabin. The wood has been baking in the sun all day, and it releases a deep, comforting aroma of resin and ancient forests. You can feel the vibration of the water through the hull, a low-frequency hum that resonates in your chest. It is a song of the deep, a sound that has existed since the first tides began to move across the earth. You are not just sitting on a boat, you are cradled by the very pulse of the planet. From the silence, a new sound emerges. It is not the lap of a wave or the cry of a bird. It is a rhythmic, powerful exhalation. You open your eyes and look toward the bow. Emerging from the amber haze, a series of dark, elegant shapes begin to slice through the water. They move with a synchronization that is impossible and beautiful. It is the pod of the elders. These are the great grey dolphins of the deep ocean. They do not resemble the smaller, playful dolphins of the coast. These are massive, ancient beings, their skin etched with a complex map of white lines, scars from coral, from the pressure of the depths, and from lifetimes of traveling across the globe. Their skin is not just grey, it is the colour of weathered pewter, polished by 1,000 storms. They move with a terrifying grace, their bodies arching out of the water in slow, hypnotic loops that never seem to splash. They are the silent masters of the current. The lead bull, a creature of immense size with a notched dorsal fin, glides alongside the Marisol. He is so close that you can see the fine, crystalline spray of his breath as it catches the sunlight, turning into a brief, miniature rainbow. You see the intelligent, ancient eye as it breaks the surface. It is a look of total recognition, a gaze that spans the distance between species and finds a common language of peace. He is not watching you with curiosity. He is watching over you with a protective, quiet dignity. The pod surrounds the boat, their movements creating a soft, rhythmic wake that gently rocks the Marisol. You realize that you no longer need the engine. You no longer need the wheel. The dolphins have taken the lead. They are guiding the vessel, their presence creating a path through the water that feels as solid as a road. You feel the boat being pulled forward by an invisible force, a gentle, magnetic attraction to the rhythm of the pod. You are being carried. You are being guided. You are being brought home. As the sun dips lower, the amber light turns into a deep, bruised purple. The water around the dolphins begins to glow once more with that neon, bioluminescent fire we saw in the early hours. Every time a tail fluke breaks the surface, a shower of blue sparks cascades across the waves. The dolphins are moving through a sea of stars, and you are following in their wake. The sound of their breathing becomes your own, a slow, deep, rhythmic expansion and contraction of the lungs. Inhale and exhale, and silence. The village begins to reappear on the distant horizon, a cluster of flickering yellow lights at the base of the cliffs, but it looks different now. It looks like a small, fragile toy world. The true reality is here, in the dark water, in the company of the elders. You feel a heavy, beautiful tiredness settling into your limbs. It is not the tiredness of exhaustion, but the tiredness of completion. Your journey is coming to an end, and every cell in your body is ready for the transition into the dream state. The Marisol passes through the stone breakwaters of the harbour, the dolphins trailing behind until the water becomes too shallow for them. They pause at the mouth of the bay, their dark fins bobbing in the moonlight. One by one, they give a final resonant breath, a long sigh of farewell that echoes off the stone walls of the village. And then they turn. They dive deep, their tails slipping into the indigo water without a sound, returning to the vast, open mysteries of the deep sea. You glide toward your slip, the boat moving with the ghost of its own momentum. You reach for the mooring lines, the hemp feeling cool and heavy in your hands. You tie the knots with a slow, mechanical precision. Over, under, and through. The Marisol is home. She is tied fast to the earth once more. But as you step off the boat and onto the stone pier, you still feel the movement of the sea. Your body still rocks with the rhythm of the waves. The ocean has not stayed behind, it has entered you. You walk up the cobblestone path toward your home, the village silent and sleeping around you. The scent of wood smoke is stronger here, but it is layered now with the memory of the salt and the dolphin's breath. You reach your door, the wood cool against your palm. You step inside, leaving the door ajar for a moment to look back at the harbour. The moon is high now, a silver disk that turns the water into a sheet of hammered light. The silver tide is at its peak. You lie down in your own bed, the blankets feeling as soft as the morning mist. You close your eyes, and the darkness is not empty. It is filled with the blue glow of the plankton, the golden thread of the line, and the rhythmic arc of the grey elders. You are no longer the fisherman. You are the water. You are the tide. You are the deep, silent peace of the ocean floor. Sleep now, the Marisol is at rest, the village is at rest, the sea is at rest. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Good night, good night, good night.